Nick, would you please state why these two contracts were not combined as one together? Because
And when I made the presentation again before you to get direction as to how you want me to proceed with the advertisement, I was given direction by the council to get two separate bids, one for the landscape and one for the downtown maintenance facilities. And that's the reason why it was split. And prior to the other contract, it was combined in one, and you guys made the decision that you wanted to split. So you guys can know what the difference was on each one.
so I recall that when we discussed this item, no one knows, who will be awarded the bid, but it's in the minute, and I'm sure that we can look for it and find it. Did I mention that we need to put a cap of $200,000 into it, and that would mean maybe cutting down some of the services, because as we know that we are in a budget crisis, we wanted to save some money to the city. So we put a cap of $200,000, and we say, and I brought a few examples that says, look, we don't have to cut the cost twice a week, and we don't have to do maybe water the grass every day. Those are the cuts that we need to make, and I rather make some cuts in an area like that than cutting a program to senior citizens, and other, or cutting the hours to police and fire, public safety. I think we have to set some priorities here, and we have to look at the budget as a whole. I mean, if we had to approve a contract for 3 years, over $300,000, that's to me physically irresponsibility. We cannot allow this crisis ourselves to be tied to a long-term contract. And if my colleagues think that this is too high and it's not within the budget, or this is an area that we can do some cuts, then my recommendation would be to reject the bids and we send it out to bid with a cap of $200,000, eliminating some of the area that might be not priority. Thank you.
Yes. No, I was going to be also addressing that issue about, I don't remember if that meeting was back in September or October, where it was asked that you get this bid capping at $200,000.
I apologize, I don't recall, and you look at the minutes and the meetings that we had, and we couldn't find it, as to that taking place, but, I'm more than happy if you like, we can either rebid it, or there's basically when they did this bid, I had an itemized areas, every single area that was going to be cut or maintained is itemized. If the contractors are willing to do that, I can sit down and we can eliminate some of those or make them every other week or cut them back. Because we have in the agreement, even though we haven't signed it, there is a clause in there where we can reduce or increase service as we feel is needed.
My reason for asking questions on this, Nick, was I noticed that under reading the first part of the item 6, which is landscape maintenance services, there's still some areas that are downtown. Trash, parking lots, like that sort of thing that was included on this portion. I would have liked to have seen that pulled so that it's specifically the parks outside encompassing our downtown and BID, and use BID money to pay for those services.
And that's why if you see it has City of Calexico, City Council, and Redevelopment Agency. The item, when I prepared it, that's the reason behind it, because some of this is going to be paid by the RDA.
How much?
I can sit there and figure it out. If it is itemized, you can sit there. Basically, I figure RDA normally pays about 16% of it.
Ralph, what would you do?
Let's go back with a $200,000 cap. Now, those are landscaping or roads?
Yes, my motion will be then to reject all bids and come with $200,000 cap.
For discussion, so I can ask?
Yes.
But it's for landscaping or for roads?
Here's what we're talking about. We were looking at landscaping, parks, recreational areas, and everything that has to do with the downtown to be separated under another contract, another bid, under another contract to be paid for through bid funds or downtown funds specifically.
Right, and that's why,
Cleanup, maintenance, alleys, trash pickup, all that.
that's the second item.
That's what some of the work.
But I saw some of that on the first
In
contract.
my report, I asked you to give Jennifer direction to redo that contract because there's a lot of redundancy in the agreement.
And some of the work on the AC also has already been done by city employees, and, let's keep them busy too.
So definitely we need to separate it, one, and then you wanted it to be capped.
I wanted to pick up both projects at $200,000.
Right, that's what we're talking about.
That what we talked about. So pull the minutes and just, you'll see, I guess, I remember that discussion, I just don't remember what.
Yeah,
And
I put that on my agenda as well.
I don't doubt it, it's just that we researched it, we researched it, and we just couldn't find that part. And I apologize for that.
Okay, well, it's one of the options that we have is reject all bids, and, this is my motion.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor with the suggested recommendations to
Yes.
separate all business improvement, park,
Yes.
everything downtown, separate that. Even though there's a park, separate it. It's business, downtown, something
Yeah,
different.
it is. And this will be a saving of over $100,000 for the city.
The reason I left the park is because it's mostly landscape, and the second part is mostly facility maintenance, picking up trash, cleaning restroom facilities and stuff like that, and cleaning the alleys. So that's the reason why I kind of left it there, that even though it's going to be paid, that part's going to be paid out of RDA, and that's the reason why we left it so you don't have maybe 3 different people doing it, just have 2.
Just for clarity's sake and transparency's sake, we separate all that so that one's park, one's this, and
Yeah, we could say what's going to be charged.
Yeah, we innovate when,
Well, the other thing is, if RDA is going to be part of this, then that shouldn't be that separate as well.
we need to know if the fees coming back to general fund, the fees coming back to the RDA. Percentage doesn't really tell us that.
Right, I can, if you like, I can bring it back and separate it.
Yes. So, we're going to rebid at the cap of 200,000, separating the two, and these contracts should be for 1 year only. We really don't know what's going to happen next year. Next year is going to be worse.
My recommendation is for 1 year only with a possible 2-year extension.
Yeah, that's right, that's fine. The option for renewal is fine.
Right, and that'll be brought back to you.
But
so you
the
can make
mutual
that
understanding will be 1 year.
Correct.
all right, and work with those that, if there was the lowest bidder, work with them. Call for the vote, do I have
Wait a
a,
minute.
What's the direction? To rebid?
reiterate your motion?
There was a cap. Yes.
Rebid or come with the?
Reject all bids, and rebid at the cap of $200,000, eliminating those areas that we just mentioned. And Mr. Peloponi, if you want to go
Yes, I'm
ahead.
Bill Acuna. I'm one of the bidders for Advanced Service Landscaping Incorporated. Address is 255 Fifth Street here in Calexico. And this is all new to us about capping the $200,000. We put a lot of time and effort into putting the bid together for you. And we'd like to actually, because I think it's compromised, because then everybody knows now what the bids are. So we'd like to actually work with the bids, but work with the city actually to work with the adjustment. Because you're going to ask us to go back, and you're going to cap 200,000, so everybody's going to cap 200,000. Everybody's going to come in at 200.
Well, if we were to make a motion, and I think it's probably valid, what you said, to award the lowest bid, but to renegotiating for a cap of $200,000, that's possible, legally?
Yes, this isn't a public works contract, so technically speaking, you don't have to reject all bids. You don't even have to accept the lowest bidder. In this case, if you wanted to just award the contract to Advance with the cap at $200,000 and authorize staff to negotiate
Then, Gil, I have no problem with that. I just,
Will you amend your motion?
this will save you time and our staff time. My motion will be award the bid at renegotiating the rate at $200,000 cap.
I second the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.